here. Hopefully you guys can see this. All right, well, let's take a look what's going on, right? So if you guys take a look here, I would say it was it was fairly obvious where you could expect a bounce. And even when I took the short of 95, if you guys go look at the notes, I told you losing 87 is going to be important for a quick little flush down to about 75 area. And I mean, they came in very close, 77. So if you kind of look at this, how we got there, right? I mean, we had this consolidation here, and this is mainly after hours, right? Let me just go on 30 minutes. So this was consolidation after hours, and I'll bring the volume up so you guys can follow along, right? So this is where they consolidated after hours. They consolidated again after hours. They consolidated again after hours. You guys get the trend? They're consolidating after hours and have these big moves happen as soon as we pop at open. There's a big violent move coming. And lately, they just been, it's called first drive, second drive, and now third drive. And now they're, popping a little bit higher, and they're over the 4-month POC. So let's see how they look and how they, if they're able to hold this overnight, right? Big day tomorrow on CPI. So if you guys just grab this, right, and you look at to the top, I mean, I don't think you guys should have been surprised at the bounce where we bounced, right? So we came here, you had the September value area low. I think we beat up on this a lot. If you guys remember, I said we want to go away from it, but we cannot. And I think I emphasized this last night. And I asked you guys to respond where Mr. Bean stepped in and said, we can't lose September value area low. And what did they do? They came in and they, just follow along so far. They defended with the highest volume possible. That's sarcasm, guys. That they did not defend with the highest possible. It's just a little bit of a crappy volume altogether. When you look at the daily, really not much, right? I mean, you're pushing up on price here, and look at the volume. 3 days of shit volume. You have a sell-off and it picked up on there, and then you have a green day, and still hasn't done much. So even though we're chugging along and we're going higher, I wouldn't say necessarily everything is bullish in that sense, right? I mean, we are making higher highs, but when this collapses, and I don't know if that's going to be the CPI, obviously the PPI came in a little hot, but it just doesn't seem like they cared much at all. So let's see what happens tomorrow. I would expect if we do clear 44.20 that it's going to be a big explosion. So what I did here, let me see actually, where's my chart? Okay, I'll switch between these two. I posted this for you guys here just moments ago before I went to target. I took the 4-month PO area, right, which is your 4-month balance for newer folks. You can find that under indicators, technicals, profiles, and you're looking for a periodic volume profile. And once you get that, you want to change this inputs to 1 month. It's going to be set at the bar. You want to change it to month. You want to change value area at 68. I keep row size at 100, your preference. And then, of course, you want to enable it. And now each one of these profiles is basically a month. So this is your June, this is your July, August, September, and now the October, right? So we're almost halfway through. And when you look at this, right, the 43.50 was our level. If you reclaim it, then you have a chance that you're going to go higher, right? Right now, we are, when you draw the FVP, meaning when you, I don't know, where is it on this tool? I think it's on the bottom somewhere. This one right here, I just have a favorite. Fixed range volume profile. When you grab this, I'll do this real quick. So if you grab the FVP tool and you start from, this month here, trying to find the 4 hours. So on 4 hours, you're able to grab all of it, and you grab that, right? You'll get that, I guess here you'll get something different than what I had for first sig. And here's your first sig, meaning the first standard deviation on the bell curve is here, but then 68% of the volume was traded here. And that's what we have identified, right? So I label it as 1S. You can label it whatever you want. Then what you do is if you want to change this to second sig, I have it saved as a template. And you can change this value area to 95. You're going to get the second sig right here. So the second sig, I guess I was on some different time frame maybe. It's going to be up slightly here. And then the last one, you can change this to 99. All right, that's create the zone, and it's going to print right here. So in this case, it would be, I think I was definitely in a different time frame when I did this quickly today.
I think we have a contract change over in there, and maybe you didn't take that right near the bottom.
No, maybe, yeah. Yeah. Ideally, I should just ignore this volume here. Probably something like this, but whatever. That's close enough for me. Okay, so now you have bracketed market, right? So this is your 4-month balance. If you're to think about this, we haven't really put in higher highs in this range that we've been in. Come on. So from here to here, this is your 4-month balance or bracket. So if that's the case, what you're looking for is you're looking for the rejections to be, somewhere in here on the top, you're going to have the rejections happen in this red area. Don't pay too much attention to this green area I was just showing you. And then the green spot right here that you have, that's going to be your buying area, right? And this works until it doesn't. And I know it sounds simple, but it really does. I mean, when you think about it, we went here, we reclaimed it, we rejected it, we made lower highs so far here. And now you're pretty much making, lower lows from the bigger picture, right? So if you're going to go on like a 3-day or something like that, let me hide this monthly. If you look at this, we have a lower high right here, lower low, and now, I mean, at 45.60, we would basically have this breaking and making higher high. And then if we break this level here, we have a high chance to run, test the recent highs, and then eventually to test, you see here, to test this high here, which is your last, all-time high that you have, 48.08. Okay. And some or most traders that trade patterns, they would see something here, right? They would see something like this on their charts. I would say most of them have this identified as a bull flag, right? So let's see what happens, right? They might come up to here, and you guys see if you enable this and you change the width, let's say to about 85, 84 does it. No, let's go 125. I want to see it when yeah, there it goes. So now if you guys look at the volume nodes where they are, right? So there's a lot of congestion here. And once you crack this level right here, 44, call it 40, you open this up a little bit, you're going to have some rejection right here. And then basically opens up, what is this? Like almost 10 points. It could go up to here. I think it's going to stall here, actually. There is some sellers there. And these would be the levels that you could play on momentum breakouts, right? If you clean this, most likely here and so on. Usually the dotted lines on my chart mean a shelf support and resistance, right? And then you see majority of this. I mean, look at the size of the shelf, right? I mean, this could shift from this POC to here really quick as well, meaning that we shifted. And I don't know, if you play around with different settings, you might be able to hit that POC to shift, because at one point, I don't know if you guys recall, POC was up here, right? And on the recent drop that we had, it shifted down. So right now, what you're looking at here, you're at the 4-month POC. It's the August value area low, the June POC. There's a lot of levels in here, right? So I'll add this one here so you guys can see it. In order to break something that's size of this, guys, you really need a lot of volume. You need major volume to come in, because this is your equilibrium. This is where they're happiest trading. So tomorrow when the CPI comes out, you might experience a lot of volume, and they might not have a lot of moves. They might accumulate here so they can break or dump from here, because this is where they're happy places. Remember that major POCs, daily POCs, just means equilibrium where they're happy trading. If they're happy trading here, Well, maybe they stay there for a little bit. They stay there before, right? They went up, came back, then they went below, reclaimed, lost it, and now this is the first retest of this so-called support, right? So now we are here, and tomorrow, I mean, I can't tell you we can expect to go down or not, but when you look at, you know, footprint charts, let me see, where is this? Let's see, when you look at the footprint charts, right at what time is this? Let me see here. Right at, I'm trying to get to this time at 4:30. Did anyone look at the delta today? Well, take a look at this right here. Look at the delta at 4:30 here. You guys see this?
Yeah, the delta profile was nasty.
I mean, look at this. Somebody just literally, I mean, 3, 5, this is 10, 25,000 contracts offloaded right here. I mean, it's not a small chunk of money that, you know, you just released and now, oh, okay, cool. Thank you for running these stops here at the moment, right? Somebody's cute after hours. Every auction on the top's completed. We're about to get a move about 10 points here in the market. Okay, well, never mind. I guess that's it. It's about to happen here. So something's off, right? Obviously, tomorrow is a big day, I would say, in terms of macro news. And if you guys look at this, look at the daily profile here. We're going higher highs. What about the delta? The delta cumulatively also switched to red. So they're selling here, guys. At least that's what the data is telling me, right? So I'll be really cautious trusting the first. If there is a pump tomorrow, I'll be really, really cautious trusting them. And this right here, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like this, but this is a pretty rare sight to see after hours at 4:30 to offload this many contracts. I mean, once they lose this level here, it might not be a bad spot short, considering, right? You go, considering where we are, this might not be a bad spot, right? So let's take a look at this. Let's look at the fibs. And look where the 50% fib is, right here, 44.25. Can they pump to here and then lose this and then we short the crap out of it? Yeah, of course. Because this would create some major, major FOMO for the bulls. If they go here and they lose this, this would look like something like that. They will go here probably, and then I promise it happens fairly quickly here. This is definitely a scenario, right? The other scenario is that you see, especially if we see the delta tomorrow, they come in here and they come here and then you see the buyer step in at this level, then they could go probably here 44.80. I would think this area would be their interest, or this one. I would expect sellers to show up here at this level here, 44.84. That would be the level to watch. Okay, so if we see a nice breakout with footprints, you see the nice green delta spiking through, okay, trust it. Keep in back of your head that the daily profile looks like shit. It really looks bad. And then on NQ, I'm just checking here my other screen. It's actually, I would say it's not as good, but it's better than, yeah, it's better than ES, but NQ on 10.5 had a massive negative delta. Somebody offloaded really, really heavy, and they never even came close to that volume. They had 832 contracts exchanged on 10.5, a negative delta of 8,000. So I'm just not sure how they're going to recover that. Okay, and we have a completed auction at the moment, so let's see what happens. Okay, is anyone confused how to draw these 1, 2, 3, 6? And then what I did, you can save them as templates, right? You see how I have gray 95, I have gray whatever Then I have like something purple. I don't know what I saved. Have bearish, right? I have something bearish, right? And then bullish. So I have different templates, but you can basically come in here, and if I wanted to run 68 gray, you can click this input save, click save templates as, and then you can type in, Cuban 68. And now I'll have a Cuban 68 here, right? So here, and then there's Cuban 68, and now I know that's my first standard deviation. That makes sense?
Hey, Shorty. Yeah, is your CPUC on NQ at 361 by any chance?
We'll take a look at it here. We'll switch from ES. Any questions on ES?
Okay, buddy. Sorry.
I can't tell you that I'm bullish or bearish just because we're so close to equilibrium. Obviously, we've had some major runs. The volume is not confirming any of this. If you guys remember the 4 questions that I asked, what direction were we trying to go? Did the volume confirm the directions? And then did the value areas also match, right? So if you look at this on, shorter time span, like daily profiles, take a look at it, right? So you have, I don't even know what you call this profile here. It reminds me of one of those, did anyone play those Nintendo or Commodore 64, the Galaxy games?
Yeah, the spaceship.
Spaceship. It looks like a little spaceship here. And then if you look at these profiles here, I mean, they really just don't, they just don't look bullish at the moment, right? So the value area, and then you got look at the spike. You broke the, value area right after hours or right at the hours, you spiked through it, right? And the same thing you did here, you did it at 10:30, but they brought you back. Then you came back here at 4 o'clock and you're spiking through it. Something just seems very fishy. The POC barely shifted. The value area high is lower. And I would say, let's see.
Looks weird.
It's just, to me, this is a double inside day, right? You haven't really done shit. This is a 2-day balance right now between this and this. And 43.95 is your POC, and your value area low is at 43.87 on the 2-day balancing there. So they really, I know we've ran a lot from 42.30 to, it's 200 points, right? But it basically, if it wasn't for this day, you can say that you're in a range of 100 points, like, or less, right? Because this day here really, I would say ran the whole market. 120 points in one day. And then you had nothing. From then you had 50 points. Right, so I can't justify that just yet. And I would say, the volume is also dying. So if you guys look at the 4 hours, look at the volume here. Big volume, not buying. It's kind of going down, right? And the daily confirms it. So let's see what they do, right? Tomorrow is a big day, and I'll play cautiously in the morning. And that spot, if you guys look here, right? I just drew this little channel, but you see where I marked earlier the shelf, which was this one here. We said somewhere around here we would expect a rejection, and you see where the shelf starts right here at 44.75. And what happens at that spot right here? You guys see that? It would be an intersection of your channel, whoever is trading channels, and then you're gonna have a start of a major volume node that I think eventually will become your POC on the 4 months, right? So you're gonna be in a double distribution here, and they're trying to get inside here. If they don't get inside, it's gonna be a violent drop all the way to 42.80s or so. Okay, and let's see, from here to here, the POC has shifted up. So I'm just looking now, where's the POC? And the POC is definitely sitting here. Where is it? 43.95. That's your basically 3-day POC since Friday. We are up, and you see how they came back and they defended this volume node. So once they lose this node, you're gonna go to this node. you lose this node, you're really going to be looking. And keep in mind, a lot of these accumulations happen after hours. As you guys know, I don't trust them equally because the volume is just not going to be equal either. And now if you look at it, what happens if you lose this node? What does the rule of the double days say, or double distributions?
You drop to the lower node.
Yep.
You go to the
Yeah.
extreme. Yeah, the other extreme.
You're going to be, I mean, this one is just a little fat, right? This is, you know, there's a lot of volume here, mainly because you're accumulating here in this little range, right? That box, but this is a fat node, right? I mean, they can definitely come to 4,300 and get a bounce, but ultimately they will touch 4271, whether they want to or not. They'll option there. Okay. Any questions on ES? I'll touch on SPY because I believe we talked about SPY. I'm going to actually update my ES levels here. I like to have them high level and lower level levels so I can see them.
For really wide volume profiles like that, how do you kind of time your entry if you're looking to, bounce off of it?
So which one are you talking about? The previous slide? Sorry, this one here?
Yeah, that could be an example, yeah.
So if you look at this right now, right, I mean, this is, it's about 100 and something points away. It's about 150 points away. As you come here, the shorts are going to be trying to close this, right? And you're going to see the auction, you're going to see the volume slowing down as you're coming down because the sellers won't be interested. As soon as you notice the volume is slowing down, and when you can't make a new low, like it happened today, it happens all the time, when you're struggling to make a new low, that means you're too short. The market's too short and they're expecting a drop, and what they typically do is they'll reverse it. So when I'm timing something like this, let's say if you're playing options, right? If you're trading options, you could definitely, as you come to 4,300, if you play, this would require maybe 3 weeks to play on a safe side just to buy time. You could play something, far out on SPY to buy, or SPX, whatever your preference is. I'd buy some longer dated calls. If I see that aggression is coming, right? Full body candles, volume is up. I look at the footprints, and footprints are showing massive aggressive selling. Well, I wouldn't be naive enough to go ahead and buy it here if they're really selling. I want to see some absorption first of those aggressive sellers and then buy calls. So even today, I'll show you here. I'm not sure if you use footprint charts or not. Here, let me show you. Good question, though. Very good question. So here's the sell-off. Where is it? Today. So what do you see here? Take a look. You're selling off, you had a green delta here at 12:30. Then you have I would say, not so big red delta. You're coming down with, pay attention to the volume. Is the volume picking up as you're selling off or going down?
It's going down.
It's going down. That's telling you that there's not as many interested people to sell here, right? Delta's negative. It did pick up though, right? 1,800. And then you see a massive, green delta pick up at 2 o'clock. And this seemed a little odd, especially on ES. And I'll show you on ES how it looks. It seemed really odd on ES because it's just massive. It's like somebody knows CPI data, honestly. But here, the telling sign was on NQ was here, right? You have a completed auction. And usually when the completed auction happens, you have to auction higher or lower based on where the completed auction is to go. But there's the absorption right here, right? They came in here and they gave you a nice absorption, right? So I wouldn't look for, of course, on 30 minutes for my entry. I'd rather go on something smaller to find a proper entry. And then you'll see here, let's see, where is it? So this is where it happened, right? This is what I highlighted here. So now you take a look at it. Look at this. Selling more, selling a lot less, right? And then you have a positive, a lot less volume and a lot less delta here. And then you have a spike in green. So how could you play this, right? For instance, here you had on 5 minutes, you had a failed auction right here. You could play the breakout of these Or let this candle finish. This is my preferred one. Let the bullish candle that's taking out the previous high finish. They will give you a retest and they'll give you a level. So ideally, where would you go long then? If this was the candle that gave you the absorption confirmation because you cleared out the previous failed auctions, where's your go ahead?
You see the candle?
The next candle.
I mean, just look at this right here. You have the POC and you're coming back right to it. And then you follow up with less volume, less delta. You see this, and then you have this guy here, I guess. They ran a lot of stops here and then they proceeded to
Yep.
push much higher, right? So this is where I would look for a re-entry. And it's a lot of patience, right? Because some people, you could blindly buy the bottom here and hope it's the bottom. You want to see the buyer step in. I need the buyers to tell me no more, stop. And then you see here, for instance, right, you have two volume, in 5 minutes, right? So it's not something I would trust as much. You have two HVNs, two POCs on candles coming. So if this was to come back, let's say in next 10 minutes here, which seems like it's not never going to come back. If this was to come back to this area, that'd be great. But now in 15 minutes, would this be my best entry here? If you missed all of this, where's your re-entry? Let's say tonight, let's say we're live. Where do you go live here? Where do you go long here? BC.
You could draw a fixed range volume profile of that bottom
Yeah, I could do
and write it up.
this. And now I'll change it to volume in this case, right? And look at this. It was right here. The cluster was there, right? And now if I increase this to a little bit, I'll double click on it and let's see. Now look at this,
There's the
15,324, and this would be the level I'm looking to buy. So as they come here, let's say it happens tonight, I don't know, but this would be a good level on smaller time frame that I'm looking 15 minutes to buy that. And I'm pretty sure you would have identical somewhere here if you just kind of scroll back on 30 minutes, because you need to have the context of the data, what's happening, right? So how did you know, that this here is going to happen? Well, you could do the same thing, right? I mean, if this is our volume, if this is the, the move that we had from top to bottom here, let's just highlight this and see what happens, right? Come on. I just want a little bit bigger. And now you can see, right? Could you expect this to be a bounce here? It seemed like they're a little eager not to let it drop below because it was most likely going to trigger that. If you guys recall from last night, do you guys remember this level? This was my buy level if they bought it. And I honestly expected them today to auction here, to come here and scare the bulls away. But it seems like they're really not interested in scaring them away. Maybe they have a little bit more inventory to get rid of. But this is for me, if I was to play this, this would be the setup I'm looking for at this level to go long. And on smaller time frames, I just showed you is the same concept as you said, draw the FVP here. And where's that POC pointing at? In this case, it's 15,324. And if I want to see a confirmation of that, just to get more confluences, I can switch this to delta, right? And I can see, hey, where's this, where's the aggression come, right? Is the aggression here or where? And it seems like you would have some aggression here. A lot of, buying happened in this box. And then you see a major buyer was sitting at 15.3.
15,324 happens to be that PDPLC.
Yeah. I mean, and that's how I would play it. I would play it on the, on volume retest of the volume nodes. It's really no different than when you think about an NQ, for instance, here. Like this bounce here, it came in like really close to PD value or low. I was aware of this level 252. I typically would not go long off of it, but I would wait for this level to hit to go long, but they came in short. And I used 30 minutes to find that. If you're on a scalping side, right, and if you're looking at this, right, so tomorrow, where would my entry be? Well, tomorrow, I don't know if I would trust this level, but let's try. Again, you have that weird profile shape being here. And it's again 15.3, 22 to 24. You see this node. As we come here on the first retest, meaning we haven't been here before, as you come here, I would look to go long. On the tap of that level, I would get a long. Usually I get enough points, and I went long today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I went long and short based on the first taps of NQ.
So first tap, okay.
Yeah. So if they come here, I'd go long here on the first tap. I wouldn't debate too much.
Okay.
And you got to have your limit orders in if you're going to do that. You can do not. I guess I would advise not to go with market orders because you're not going to get the best fill. Does that answer your question, BC?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So NQ, I would say I would
What
watch.
about that 372? Don't you think that node's big enough?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you
be
can
in-
definitely play it, but where
that's
I would
100
feel
point.
more confident, right? So if you look at this data, let me back up because I only grabbed this run here. Now let me give you more because you asked for more. Okay. So now you mean your perspective shifts a little bit, right? So you have, and go to the bottom here of this one. So we have this up front here. So now you said, hey, but what about that volume node? Yeah, look at these volume nodes. You have 1, 2, 3. If I hide the dailies, or let's do it this way. Now I have to think, okay, well, how are they going to screw the most people? How are they going to trap people? Well, if they go higher here and they lose this volume node, some people might consider shorting there, but this potentially is going to be a bounce. Like you just said, there's a huge node here. There's a huge node here. So this PD value area high, we know if you come back here and you defend this, that's going to tell us you're accepting prices higher, right? So this is the first level of defense for bulls, right? They're going to come in here and they're going to defend it. Yeah. And then if they fail that, then you got these guys. But as a trader that you are, whatever your preference is, either you're looking in an uptrend that you're in right now, right? You're making higher highs in this case. You're making lower highs, then you consolidate it in here. When you consolidate for a period of time like this, let's say this is consolidation. Is this the explosion do you expect?
No,
Mm,
hell no. You expect a much bigger explosion.
I would say you're expecting a little bit more violent, right? I mean, if this one here,
Yeah.
let's say if this one was here, right? If this is the whole box and then they drove it from here, I just don't know if this is enough, right? And then when I draw this, now this is going to be an interesting view for most. What profile shape you think we're going to have?
B shape.
It's going to be definitely a B shape. And you see
Mhm.
now, you reclaim this, you are popping above this area right here, right?
mhm.
So you're entering the space, basically. You're entering the empty space of the world. You crack this, what is this? 32.5. You're going to go here, you're going to push the boundaries all the way up. Then you crack 470 and you're going to be targeting 15.5. And now we draw that little zone. And that's how I see it in my eyes, right? You crack this, you're going to go here. Would I look to go long here? I personally look for a short opportunity out of here because you're running up higher and you're coming to a supply that drove the prices lower. That from here, you're able to create, this low here, I would say was mainly a trap, but you're able to break that. The only thing that you didn't break, you broke this low here, trying to get it to stay. You broke this low, but this low here, you really came close to it, right? I mean, you broke it, but I don't consider that broken. So you're really ranging from this supply here. So now you're going to see, what do you want to see from this guy here? Is he serious about selling or not? Do you have more, or are you done? If he's done selling from here, then we're going to rip higher. All you have to do is crack that POC. Then you have, what is it, 15.5, 55-ish, like this one here. Yes, I should go to the bottom of that. So you'll have this, right? And they can keep pushing it in these increments. And then you see that, you know, the last supply that we haven't really tested yet is here, right? Let's not extend it. So you have a supply sitting right here that hasn't been tested yet. And that would be it. And then once you crack, I would say once you crack these levels, you're most likely guaranteed 15.8. And then, you know, here, this is your all-time high zone, right? Either this seller here was really patient and he trusted that you're going to bring it up there and he has a whole bunch, or he offloaded and he bought more here, and you'll find out as soon as we approach that level. Does that make sense? It looks nasty like this, but when you go in 3 minutes, these levels give you enough space in between. And here's the level. If you remember 11 being, do you remember 11 from earlier? At 4 o'clock, I said I have 11 and 24. Here's 11. Here's your 24.
Yep.
So they're playing in the range right now. So most likely 11 is going to be buy, 24 is going to be sell tonight. This guy's going to offer inventory here.
Well, we're at 24 right now.
Yeah. So this guy's going to be offering some inventory here, I would think. And you're at the value area high. So most likely we're going down now. So now if they're smart, right, they want to clean up this liquidity. They want to take these equal lows that they have all around. They crack this, then they're going to go here, and all the people are going to be buying here. They're going to trap them and they go lower. Then they will cover, and then they will look to short here, and then they're going to go long from here. So watch what happens. And you could, I mean, you could definitely zoom in on just this area now, because that's the latest box. And you see here now that POC matches those lows, hence they keep buying it. On the bigger scale, and the whole thing that we had, if you go from here where they entered, there's your 11. Why it's important. So this zone here has this POC. You lose this POC, you're going to 1175. And now watch. I mean, they're just gonna, once they lose this, you can quickly catch this here. And I would go along at this level and then catch it up while people are gonna be shorting because they're probably buying here on the equal lows. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that would be it for me. On the volume profile, somebody asked, so if you guys go here, there's actually a whole video on how to draw the sigmas. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's right here. So on slide 53, if you watch this video here, you'll be able to kind of figure out the sigmas and how to draw it yourself. It's step by step, so you can't really make a mistake. Okay. Any questions from anyone?
Random question on the footprint charts, like with the sell-off. Well, not really the sell-off, but with the huge negative delta that came in towards the end of the day, I was just like out of curiosity wondering, like, if with so much contracts being offloaded, how come price didn't drop lower?
Because it's done after hours. It's a passive auction.
Okay. So selling at ask.
No, somebody had a plan to execute so they don't spook the market. If you did this during, if you
So
did this,
basically behind closed doors.
yeah, I
Like,
mean, if you
somewhat.
did this during the day at 19,000 contracts and you saw an order come in, if you
Yeah.
saw an order on 30 minutes, look at the size of this, man.
Your volume would be huge.
I mean, the volume and people would follow, right?
Yeah.
People to see those large trades are usually, I mean, you hear catching rockets. He's like, man, I saw a 50 order. I'm hopping in.
Yeah.
And that's not only catching rockets, that's everybody. You're watching the tape to see, right? You know, who's playing, who's not. And you see here, look how quickly they accelerated the price up. You only accelerated up so you can sell it and complete the auction here. You sold, and then you sold pretty much all of it here. So very interesting, right? Let's see what they do. But we are at a crucial level here with the completed auction, and again, a little bit of an aggressive seller after hours, nothing big, right? Compared to this guy here, but yeah. On ES
Shorty, you're
here,
pointing to.
We don't see your
We're not
footprints.
seeing what you're pointing to.
you guys don't see footprints?
No, we're
No,
only
your
seeing
chart
the
is
volume
different.
profile.
What do you see now?
The volume
trading view.
profile.
Trading view, yeah.
Oh,
Really? I just see a black screen.
oh, that's weird. Hold on, let me figure this
Yeah,
out.
yeah, for me as well, it's loading.
What about now?
There we go.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah,
You see
so now I'm just
TPO.
looking at TPO, right? And I'm trying to see what happened. You see the POC with lowercase b, then you basically had a D-shaped profile. This is a perfect distribution here. And then you popped last minute over at 3:30. That means you got to validate this spike. You're going to be coming back here at 4405 tomorrow. And you can also see here during the period on the day prior, you see here that we were able to actually drive higher than that, which is 404. We went higher in the M period here. So let's see what they do. And on NQ, let's see what they got. Make sure I'm on one. When you're running an uptrend, should you be having a lot of B shapes?
No,
It should be a
P-shapes.
P.
Yeah, P shapes.
Yeah, you want to see a bunch of P shapes, right? When you see a B shape in an uptrend, it's usually not that good.
It's like an anomaly.
Yeah, I mean, and we're overlapping here. We didn't overlap. Now you got the overlap. Let's see what happens once we lose this 4405. I'll potentially short it right below the 4405. The reason why is if you're not able to hold this level, because that's where a lot of volume came in last time, and you're not able to hold it now, I think the sellers might show their teeth finally and be able to push this price, maybe what is this? 65, and then, you got some single prints to fix here. I don't know if you guys see it here. You have some single prints to fix here in this area, 4360, and then you have a VPOC at 4311, another VPOC at 4289, and then you would have a nice cumulative POC here as well. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'll be on tomorrow, and we'll see if we can hopefully not trade during the crazy 8:30 time, but hopefully afterwards.
Thank you, Shorty.
See you guys.
Thanks, Shorty.
Cool. Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.
Good
Yeah, good
night.
night, Shorty.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.